one of our models is actually to lease these devices to power utilities, governments, power grids. Our main goal is to target companies who have access to the water body. The total addressable market for renewable energy on water, it is still 1.7 trillion US dollars. We have partnered with companies in Taiwan, Korea, Singapore. We are also partnering with companies in Japan. So we have a distributed network of manufacturers. We are planning to hopefully launch at the start of 2027.
So next we're gonna move on to more business and marketing and more about the company questions.
Sure.
So first, we would like to know your business model. Like, are you gonna sell the actual device or you're gonna provide an energy as a service, like whole generating as a service?
Okay. So our business model is actually split into two parts. What we do in one model is we offer combined model. So one of our models is actually to lease these devices. We don't sell the devices directly to companies. We lease these devices actually. So of like for a period of 5 years, we lease these devices to be it power utilities, governments, power grids, any of these big facilities, and just lease it to them for a period of 5 to 10 years. And at the end of 5 to 10 years, you can either take these devices back or then make another lease for these devices to continue with them. And our other model is we deploy some of these devices ourselves. So we deploy these devices on a large scale, like uh, 10,000 to 20,000 units, and then sell the electricity generated from it at a cheaper cost. So we offer both energy as a service and leasing models uh, to the businesses and governments. Yeah.
Okay. So next question, what kind of customers are you targeting? Like private companies or more bigger government?
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. So our main goal is to target companies, or companies or rather power utilities who have access to the water body. Since this device can only work with the temperature differential, it needs a water body to work with. So we're targeting companies like hydroelectric dams, the companies that run hydroelectric dams, the companies that have reservoirs, companies like data centers who are near reservoirs and use a lot of the reservoir water, companies like power utilities, big power energy companies, who have access to all these water bodies and who can actually buy this in bulk, and governments, subsidiaries of governments as well, because they have access to the water body and control the electricity supply. So we're targeting all of them who can have access to a water body and can buy these. That's our main target customer. Anyone who fulfills these two criteria can buy this or lease this. Yeah.
Mhm. So even maybe us,
Yeah.
if we have that, yeah.
Yes. So if you
Okay.
have access to like a small pool, a large
Mm-hmm.
enough pool that you can
Yeah.
put this in, you can buy it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So next question is, how big is your total addressable market and what makes South Asia a good starting point?
So the total addressable market for energy, as you might think, is really big. Like total addressable market for energy is huge. But if we just small the uh, market for energy to just renewable energy on water, it is still 1.7 trillion US dollars. So the market for renewable energy, for actually this floating renewable energy, is still very large, and it has not been tapped a lot. So even things like floating solar panels only capture a $50 billion market, whereas the total market is $1.7 trillion dollars. So there's a huge room for us to expand. And if we just shrink our scope down to Southeast Asia, the market there is still $200 billion due to the vast amount of freshwater bodies available in just Southeast Asia. So we are hoping to expand within Southeast Asia due to mainly two reasons, right? One is Southeast Asia is a tropical region. We get access to a lot of sunlight. We get access to a lot of water, which fulfills both are the things that we want to target towards. And that is why we want to start out with Southeast Asia and then expand to other countries worldwide.
Thank you. So next question, we would like to know, how do you compare to floating solar panels in terms of cost and efficiency?
Sure. So, efficiency, I have already told, efficiency of any solar, be it in water, be it on land, it's generally the same because floating solar is basically land solar just put on water. So, land solar is generally has efficiency at 200 watts per meter square, whereas floating solar has range in 220 to 240 watts per meter square, so just a bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
And ours can hopefully produce 670 watts per meter square. That's our final goal. Uh, as for costs per watt, we measure costs in per watt. So we can make these devices right now at 64 cents per watt, so $0.64 per watt of energy. Whereas solar and floating solar are more expensive. So solar is typically priced at $1 per watt. So we are about 36% cheaper than solar, whereas floating solar is a bit more higher due to the amount of resources needed to build the what's it to build the equipment around it. So to build the buoys, to build the cables going, all these stuff add up. So the cost per watt of floating solar is generally priced at $1.5 per watt. So we are about what 2 times cheaper than floating solar.
Wow,
Yeah.
nice. So, so the next question, how are you planning to scale manufacturing?
Mm. Okay. So right now we are already trying to scale manufacturing. We have partnered with companies in Taiwan, Korea, Singapore, and yeah, we're also partnering with companies in Japan. So we have a distributed network of manufacturers, and what we'll be doing is getting getting samples and parts manufactured from them. None of our parts are to say requiring a lot of custom manufacturing, so we can just send out our details to these manufacturers, and they can easily give us samples. And we'll be mostly be working with them on contract-based manufacturing, so we'll have a contract with them. They can give us, uh, let's say, 10 units, 100,000 units, whatever we want. And all the assembly, we get all the parts from different places, and all the assembly then will be done here in Singapore, where we combine the parts and then ship them off to wherever they need to be.
Okay, so what are your revenue targets for the next 3 to 5 years?
Okay. Since this is a very deep tech idea, we don't have as large of a runway. So, I mean, we have a very long runway. So, this research in this new, entirely whole new technology requires a lot of time to develop. I told you I've been working on this for 4 years, so I've just been able to get it to twice as efficiency of solar panels in 2 years. Sorry, in 4 years. Now we can get it to 3 times efficiency in another 7 to 8 months. So this entire process takes a lot of time.
Mm,
And with that, some parts also need to be custom made, right? So that requires a whole new innovation in manufacturing as well. So considering this, our runway is actually quite big. We want to be launching in 2027, in the start of 2027. So this year and the whole next year, all we'll be working is getting out the manufacturing settled, getting out the getting out the parts sourced properly. Like where do we need to source the materials from? And then funding is also another challenge, right? We have to see how to get the funds required to actually keep this operation running for that long. And that fundraising also takes a lot of time. On the sides as well, actually figuring out how to put this in the market. So, like the laws, the regulatory certifications, those
mm,
process also take up time. So, the
yeah.
regulatory certification process takes up 6 to 7 months. So, even
Mm,
if we had to start now, we cannot launch in like 2026. So, uh, this process will take up time, and that's why we are planning to hopefully launch at the start of 2027. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I forgot to ask one question, but
Sure.
are there? I wonder if there are any effect to those aquatic animals
Mm.
if when you put those on the
Right.
surface of
Yeah.
water.
So, generally, there's no harm to the aquatic life because this raises the water temperature by 1 degree. And aquatic life generally tries to swim not in the first 20 centimeters of the surface.
Mm.
So this only covers the first 20 centimeters. Like this whole part is just 20 centimeters. So it doesn't affect that much, although we wouldn't know for sure until we implement it on a larger scale. But also you want to implement it in areas where there's not a lot of wildlife, so we don't affect it. So that's why I mentioned you want to put it in small freshwater bodies, like a small part of a lake. And we wouldn't cover the entire lake, right? We'll only cover like 1% of the lake. So the
Mm.
fishes can swim around in the other part of the lake while we can have like the 1% part just cut off from the lake, and we just have it in that part. And that's why we want to put it in areas that are generally used for this sort of stuff, like uh, freshwater reservoirs is one, hydroelectric dams are one. Like fishes will be affected with the hydroelectric dam. That's why they don't have a lot of fishes or aquatic wildlife in those dam reservoirs. That's why we want to put it in areas like those dams, where not only you can make electricity with the water that's flowing, but also with the sunlight that will be coming on top of that water. So we want to use the areas with not a lot of wildlife so that we don't affect the natural ecosystem, but we'll also be performing tests to see how it affects the wildlife if it affects it at all. So these tests are in progress, and again, this test also requires a lot of time because you have to keep it in water, see how it affects the environment on a longer period. So we'll hopefully get to know the results, and then hopefully the results are positive.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. So I'm glad to hear that you also think about those aquatic animals' life.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to like more to ask about more personal aspect and your and Incy Tech's vision.
sure.
So first, why do you believe renewable energy